Now you're saying only 150 of your citizens were all you were concerned about.
No, it wasn't all concerned with.
Apparently that's all you sent letters to.
Well,
You didn't contact me. Nobody, I didn't even go out to canvass. I heard several different people. They don't like the issue when you're having to buy medicines and you're living on the Social Security check. $1 or $2 means a lot. And those citizens are not here. A lot of them don't have vehicles to come here. A lot of them are not able to come here. And they need to be represented too. But going for the highest bid, I don't think it was handled the right way. Like I say, I think it was railroaded through. Those citizens have not been represented. And it's basically taxation that you all are putting onto us without any type of representation. And I don't think it's right. And I think you need to back up and either look at the situation or punt. Because I worked for this city for 43 years. This incident was brought up years ago by the council at the time, not now, but the council then. The citizens of Kennett voted this down. They did not want this. So, here we go several years later, we're coming right back to the same deal again. Like I say, I don't have a thing against Sharp. I paid my bill today, and I will continue to pay them if they get the bid. I don't, that's fine. I just think that you need to hear from these citizens before the final decision is made. Sharp gets it, that's fine. Like I say, I've done pay my bill to them, but having 150, I would be ashamed to say that in public.
The reason I quit writing was I got no response.
Well, apparently you must not wrote the right people. And apparently you didn't come out and contact any people either. I haven't heard anything from you, and, nobody knew anything. Everybody didn't get the word. If you do it overnight or in the dark, sometimes people don't find out. You need to let everybody know what's going on. And this is one time I'm kind of ashamed of this city. This is my hometown. I was born here. I worked for this city for 43 years. I've heard this argument through several councils. The citizens voted at that time, they did not want this. And I know it means nothing now, but that's fine. But I wanted you to hear that I don't think it's being represented right by you, the council. I think you should have looked at this a little different, took the citizens of Kennett into consideration what you're doing. I don't think you're representing us right now. And you need to think about that. And that's all I'm going to say.
All right, I got a question. Marco's worried about buying Wheeler, and then when the new mayor comes in, whoever that may be, and the new council comes in, then they come right back to let's do this again, and it knocks him out. You know what I'm saying? So why don't the council just write an ordinance that says we're not going to do that for the next 5 years? We're going to leave it status quo, how it is right now, for the next 5 years, and then we'll readdress it. I mean, you do that, and then Marco won't have to worry, because he's planning on 5 years. Oh, 10 years. 10 years would be great. I've been fighting this for 20 years. So this is a little bit more heated than the last time. The last time I convinced them to put it on the ballot. But it was a different day. So write it for the next 10 years, where we will not go back to try to make one carrier, and figure out a different way to telling you the rental property, that's the key to making things beautifying Kennett. And that can be fixed. I mean, I've got thoughts on it, and it can be fixed. And I've talked to several owners of rental property. One said, I've done that. I supply trash, and I charge it to my renters, and it's been great. And the only thing their problem was when we turned our electricity off, they were still charging me trash when I hadn't got it rented. I mean, that could be pretty easily fixed. Hey, I don't have a renter here now, and I'm going to be, and as soon as I get it, I'll put it back on. So I mean, that was their only concern. I had one that said, I can't add it to the rent because they'll just mark that off and won't pay it. We'd rather the city pay for it. So, is it the city's? I mean, the city's got it in their budget to pay for that. I mean, so that, I mean, things can be fixed, and why I say go back to the rental property owners, is because most people are gonna pay, they'll do what they're supposed to do. And then they'll make, just like Mako does. And just like all of those kind of projects, if you go by them, they're clean, they're picked up, because they don't allow anything different. One of the rental property owners told me we've got to re-educate that population. And to do it is, don't put up with it. And I'm not trying to pick on that, but I drove around and you can see where the problem is. I mean, it's so simple. And this code enforcement saying, well, it doesn't any good if we give them a ticket, nothing happens. I found out what causes it not to happen. And that can be fixed. Pretty simple. Pretty simple. And if you want to know why, the city court was more laxed on, I'll give you a person's name and their address and go in there and we'll talk to them and try to get them, do whatever we got to do. Now that's under Spillman, it has to be more formal. They need all the information before they do anything. So most likely it's just getting thrown out because, their date of birth, their name's not correct, or whatever. Ticket's not filled out correctly. It's pretty daggone simple. Filled out correctly. Different than a speeding ticket. But I think it can be fixed, and people at Kennett will be happy with it. Y'all will still get your business that you're getting, and we can stop it from being one person, so free enterprise can do it. Right. I mean, you got 10 other ordinances on trash, you might as well write one that says, we're not going to bring, do this for 10 years. And Mr. Sharp did 10 years, and I am. So far, me and you are on the same page at that thing. 10 years is great. And, I mean, and that way, Marco, I guess you're gonna handle all of his trash that he can fix up, correct? You're gonna handle
it how?
However you take it to the trash.
We accept it.
Yeah. So that's up to him and his customers to pay whatever they pay for whatever it costs you to do that, opposed to running it over Paragould where it may be a little cheaper. And I don't know that it's cheaper, but maybe it is. I don't know. I've been told it was, but I don't know for a fact. So I didn't call them, and I didn't call your people. So that now is a free market for Mr. Sharp. So watch out for his company. And it's a pretty easy fix, I think. So now that we got that out of the way, I would suggest that we go to the council next Tuesday and suggest that we, first line on that thing right there, reject both bids and the contract that's running around. And then before I said, let's try to figure it out and work out something and do a lot of legwork on what other cities do. Well, let's don't do that. Let's just write an ordinance that says, for the next 10 years, we're not going to do anything different. It's going to be business as usual. I mean, you got 2 trash carriers that do what they say they're going to do. So we don't have to worry about, because the council has the ability to give out another licensing fee for trash. That won't happen. So you got 2 guys that do what they say they're going to do, and the people can choose what they want. It's pretty simple. And I don't think that's going to hurt you, Mr. Sharp, or Republic, and I don't think that's going to hurt Marco. That's your guarantee right there.
I said I wasn't
It's a
going to
little
say
more
this.
difficult than that.
Could I ask what, and again, there's only one person, I did a lot of municipal law a long time ago. One guy in southeast Missouri, I'd say the eastern half of Missouri, that knows municipal law better than anybody that's sitting right there. So I apologize to you, Terry, for asking you this. He's my friend, I've known him a long time. If Mr. Peltz's suggestion was followed, kind of combined with that. Is there any binding contract with the city and anybody at this point? And so if you did what Mr. Pelt suggested, and kind of I think Mr. Sparks was suggesting to Mr. Parks, if they said that, in your years of
Well,
experience.
not going to do anything for 10 years.
Well, that's also somewhat of a concern for me, but the concern if they just went back to square one and said, we're gonna let everybody, this was an error and began by the city, we're gonna back up and just let the free market system work. Would that what you know about it now, you certainly don't have to answer this, you may say it needs to be looked at some more. But there's no liability to anybody, there's no agreement, there's no binding agreement between anybody. Is that correct, or?
I believe that's right.
And again, Mr. Parr, with all due respect, he says he won a bid.
But there is no contract.
That's right.
And the city cannot be bound without a contract that's approved by the council.
And so my point is, I think we could go back, and I would respectfully suggest that the discussion for the last 10 minutes shows how difficult this is going to be. And I think you all are all good people. I'm attributing to everybody here good motives, but reasonable people can have a disagreement. But it seems like if we keep trying to fix it, all we're going to do is make more people mad. And if we just backed up and said, hey, we'll let them buy their business, we as government are really not very good about deciding trash issues. These two guys are good about deciding trash issues. That's their business. With all due respect to you guys, I'm going to wager none of you have picked up any trash in your lifetime. And let them do it. Let them figure out what's the best way to do it. Keep the city council, keep government out of that